All right, what is up, everyone? Very excited for today's video. What we're going to do is we're going to show you guys and bring to you the newest tool that I've added. Okay, now what we're looking at is going to be a volatility compression scan. This is going to look for stocks experiencing volatility compression and then getting essentially a buy signal on volatility itself, meaning that these stocks are setting up for big moves, right? Either to the upside or to the downside. Okay. This is not to be confused with options volatility. Okay. Things like implied volatility, for instance. All right, this is not an IV scan, okay? Scanning for high IV stocks, looking for stocks that the options market is pricing in a large volatile move. Rather, this is looking specifically at price volatility, okay? And so there are some differences there. If you don't trade options, I'm not going to confuse you with all of that. But essentially, what we're looking at is we're looking for stocks that are in compressed volatility. Okay, so price action essentially is squeezing, hasn't been moving anywhere, and then we're throwing on top of that a moving average crossover to help quantify, when volatility looks to be turning to the upside and when we could try to get in before perhaps a large expansion in price. Okay, that is the whole purpose of this right here. So we'll go over the scan, take a look at what the scan is. There's also a custom indicator that I had to create for this as well. And so, yeah, let's just take a look. Now, before we go any further, I do want to mention that there are a couple ways that you can, edit this yourself. Okay, it is, in here through ThinkScript, essentially, is how we did this scan. But you can come in here and you can hit on scan in. And if for instance, if you're looking for certain sectors, for instance, right? If you want to just trade in certain sectors, or if you want to only look for, stocks in the small caps, you can click on the scan in or the intersect with. One thing that I do like to do, and we'll get into that a little bit later, is I like to intersect with weekly options. And the reason being is that provides a little bit more liquidity typically whenever you add that filter on, because stocks trading weekly options generally have more liquidity in them. All right. So what we've done is we've pulled up the default scan here. All right, and I just chose one of the results, OPI, as you can see on here, OPI, office properties. I pulled this one up because the year-to-date performance is down 72%. That really just caught my eye right off the bat. So, and I've never heard of this, so I just wanted to look. But yeah, this is pretty much exactly what this scan is looking for, okay? We are looking for stocks where price action and volatility in price action is very compressed, right? Obviously over here it was very uncompressed, right? And expanding price volatility. But over here we've really been squeezing. Okay, so the purple dashed line right here on this indicator is going to indicate the previous lows. Now, what this line does is this measures a form of volatility known as the Bollinger Band width. Okay, if you're familiar with the Bollinger Bands, people often hear people with Bollinger Bands talking about squeezing, right? The Bollinger Band squeezing. Oftentimes, when it's squeezing, it leads to an expansion. And so, what we're doing specifically is just measuring the Bollinger Band width, and then we've thrown on an exponential moving average crossover strategy on top of this as well. So we're scanning for stocks that have low, volatility, right? Or rather, have large volatility compression. Okay. So volatility has been very compressed. And then we've got the moving average crossover on here to let us know when volatility is perhaps about to go to the upside. And then we'll use our own analysis to come in here and see where perhaps the stock could be heading, if it's to the upside or to the downside. Now, these are going to be the default indicators that you get whenever you click on the compression hunter. Okay. So we'll pull that up for you guys real quick. So this was the first official list from the compression hunter. And essentially this is what you're going to see in the Discord whenever you sign up for the compression hunter. Okay, I've got three different tools and resources for you guys. I've got the pulse radar, I've got the zone finder, and I've also got the compression hunter. And you can get access to all of them, all right, all in one by signing up for full access to the Investment Intelligence Discord. But if you're depending on what your strategy is, right, and what your specific style is, that's what this is for. Okay, so the compression hunter is is basically meant to look for stocks that could perhaps have very big moves. Okay, so if you're someone looking for those really big trades and you want to know how to find some of those really big trades, the compression hunter is going to be really good for you. And then the pulse radar is for like 1 to 30 day swing trades, and the zone finder is for like intraday to short-term swings, right? Like a week or less, or just simply day trades, right? So this is what it will look like, okay? And you'll have the short-term swing trade list. And then for all the people that are already in the Discord, then I'm gonna come in there and individually break down each stock, do my technical analysis on it, and give you my breakdown, and we'll kind of just give a quick rundown of the type of TA that I do in this video as well, and kind of explain it to you just in case you're someone new or just joining. Now, as always, the content provided on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. So be sure to read through the disclaimer, and we'll go ahead and get right back into it. So we've got this OPI right here. What I would look for on this one, okay, and the way that I do my analysis, right, is I would come in here, take the pivot highs, okay, and slap on our Fibonacci's. Now, some people use the Fibonacci's differently, okay? But the real Fibonacci numbers are going to be, your 38.2% retracement level, your 61.8% retracement level. Those are going to be your key ones, right? And then as far as extensions, there are some other extensions, but in this case, we're really just looking at the retracement levels, okay? So what are like the 3 or 4 steps that we take to breaking these down, right? Well, step one is going to be the scan itself, right? So that's going to narrow your list down, all right? Number two, all right, is going to be the indicator itself, all right? And you can see where we're at in terms of volatility compression compared to historically, what's happened historically via the volatility compression indicator. And then number three is going to be taking a look at the historical volatility and the implied volatility. Again, this is a little bit more for options traders. So this will let you know basically if option premium is pumped up right now, right? If you're seeing the blue line at the upper bounds, or far above the purple line, then that could mean that the option premium is a little bit higher, and therefore that this could be a type of stock if you do trade options where maybe that you could incorporate some type of option selling strategy, whatever it is, right? You don't have to sell options, you can buy options. But for people who are a little more advanced with options, that's what this indicator is for, and that's what this tracks. Okay. And then step four is going to be the anchored VWAP. So if you're not too familiar with anchored VWAPs, okay, your standard VWAP is your volume weighted average price. You can anchor those to specific dates, specific times. I like to anchor them to key highs, key lows, really critical levels, right? So oftentimes you'll see me, anchor a VWAP to a 52-week high, for instance, right? So we've got the VWAP anchored up here to the 52-week highs, and you can see that we've rejected it multiple times. Now, the thing with the VWAPs, if we're below a VWAP, bears are in control. And if we're above a VWAP, then bulls are in control. So we see here, we rejected the VWAP here, we rejected the VWAP near here, and we rejected the VWAP over here near here as well. So I'm looking at this stock that's trading at 201. The VWAP's up here at 277. I know that if this thing does get a very strong rally, this VWAP is going to be very strong resistance. Okay. Now, if we can clear this anchored VWAP, this will be the first time in a long time, really in about a year or the entire year, if we start trading above here, where bulls will be in control of the price action, right? They'll be in full control because your average volume weighted buyer, or your average volume weighted price, is going to be, above the VWAP, okay? And then from there, we would look to be targeting 4, okay? So, I don't make things too complicated. I try to keep things very simple and very clear. We're in the beginning stages of forming a base here. All right. We've got some support that'll, probably be resistance right around this 3.5 area. And we'd look to see, if we can, get a rally above this VWAP, to test those base levels. Let's just draw a little rectangle in here so you guys can see it. And, this would be some type of a base right here. And we would be looking for, essentially, a nice little base pattern, something like this. Ultimately, that could break out higher. Now, we're very far away from those levels in price, right? Trading around 201. But keep in mind, this is the compression hunter, right? And this is looking for stocks that are squeezing currently at the moment. So what we can do is we can come in here and we can try to draw ourselves a nice little trend line and say, hey, we know that this thing is squeezing. If price can break this trend line here, well, then I'm going to use that as a buy signal, right? And maybe I'll have a stop below the recent lows of 181 here. And I'm going to target this anchored VWAP as my initial move, right? A 70 cents move on a $2 stock is a large move percentage wise, right? Let's just take a look at that. That's about a 30% move roughly if we were to get that move to the upside. All right. So that's kind of how I do some of the TA on it, right? Let's go over a stock that we recently had, WM, Waste Management. The call options just barely missed 100% today. So yeah, let's go ahead and run through our analysis again, because this was on the first list of stocks right here, right? So you notice how the VWAP, it doesn't change automatically for you on ThinkorSwim. You have to come in here, right? And you have to change the date yourself. Yes, there is actual labor and work involved, right? So very hard. Now, I do want to mention that everyone in the Discord has access to these indicators. Anyone who purchases the compression hunter, who purchases the pulse trader, who purchases the zone finder, you're going to get this screen right here, and you'll be able to save this as a flexible grid in your ThinkorSwim. And from there, you have these indicators, right? And so you can go ahead and look at these indicators yourself. Now, one thing that we do love is when the stocks pop up in multiple of these scans. So WM already, popped up in our Pulse Radar. If you're subscribed to the channel and you are subscribed to my newsletter, which is completely free, by the way, you guys know that WM, we're looking to long WM above 207, right? And sure enough, we reclaimed the 52-week high anchored VWAP. We reclaimed above our key Fibonacci level here of 207.48, and we were targeting 214 and 216.88 because there's a nice little gap up to fill. And sure enough, we got a very strong move to the upside here. You see recently we got that moving average crossover on our volatility compression indicator, which is a great sign. And look at the implied volatility right now, very, very high. Again, if you're an options trader, high implied volatility means that options premium is pretty juiced up right now. So if you got in before that volatility, before the spike in implied volatility, then this has been a pretty nice trade for you so far. And you should have been able to take some profits and leave some runners on the table just in case this thing continues to head up higher. So that's WM right there. And that's basically how we do the analysis on these. Now, earlier I talked about filtering for liquidity, right? That stock we were looking at, OPI. I don't know much about that stock, right? It's a penny stock. Some people like trading penny stocks, some people don't, right? Some people want to be able to, filter out and take some big positions. So you can actually come in here and you can filter it. And let's take a look at this real quick. So you click on intersect with, okay, and then click on weeklies. And again, this will show you stocks that have weekly options available to them. And you'll see that this will narrow the list down a lot. So for instance, we've only got 4 tickers in here now. We've got AI, BAC, SNV, and FIS, right? Let's take a look at something like, well, whatever this is, SNV, okay? And this looks pretty good right here, okay? So we'll come in here, and like I said, we'll just do some very simple analysis. We'll slap on the Fibonacci to the highs. We'll slap on the Fibonacci levels to the lows. All right, let me change these colors real quick so it's visible to you guys. Sorry about that, but this is the pain of ThinkorSwim versus something like TradingView, where it's a little bit easier for everything, but I still love my ThinkorSwim a lot. Now, all right, so what we can see here is this one is a really great example of those bases, okay? So we see here, if I was just to draw this for you in case you can't see it, we've got that key Fibonacci level, all right? So this is our 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. You can see that there's a little bit of a zone here, right? So if we were to just, do something like this, we can see, we had let me change my drawing tool real quick, right? So we had, support, then resistance, 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 resistance. And then we're doing a little bit of a shuffle here, right? I mean, if we were to take a look at this, we're basically squeezing at the top of a base breakout, which is beautiful. If you're in the Discord, we had a trade like this here recently over the past week. But yeah, this looks good, right? This looks what we want, right? Here's our base, right? This is a large multi-year base that we're forming right here under this 42.91 level. And as we're dancing around and consolidating above this level, we formed a nice little pennant and got a strong breakout to the upside. So something like this, I would say, hey, above 45, you want to be long on this name, and you can potentially target 54.4, right? Because once you're above the 61.8% retracement level, the percentage, right, the odds greatly increase to the upside, right? So, the odds increase greatly of you getting a full 100% retracement back up to the 54.4 level once you're trading and holding above the 61.8% Fibonacci. So something like this, you could wait, all right, and try to be patient, look for a retest, push higher of this zone right here so you can have a tighter risk to reward ratio. But we also know that this stock is popping up on our volatility compression scan. Okay. And it looks like it's gone straight up over the past few days, but when you look at its range, it's really been relative and just chopping a lot. And now we're finally getting that breakout. So this is how you could trade something like this. You could come in here and change your anchored VWAP to a specific date that you wanted to. All right, if we were to do something like this and change it back here to the highs just so you could see when buyers regained control of the price action, we'll do that real quick. Here we go. Let's see if that's the right year. Yep, right there. So, you know, lots of confluence, and this technical analysis strategy works really well for me by combining the, Fibonacci levels along with, the VWAP from key, pivot highs, pivot lows, really important inflection points. And this is a really just a great example of something I just brought up randomly, right? What do we see? We see, remember, when we're below the VWAP, bears are in control, right? So we're trending below. Each time we rally up above it, we have a false breakout and we continue heading lower. Now look what happens on this half of the screen. We break above it strongly, and now we're retesting it, doing the VWAP shuffle here and here, right? And that's what we call this over here and here and here as well as the VWAP shuffle is. It's not like some live or die level where it's like exactly right at this level. This is the exact moment to short and any stop loss up above it, type deal. It's more of, this is the volume weighted average price. You're going to see a little battle between bulls and bears, and ultimately you'll find out who's the winner shortly afterwards. Okay. So here, what do? Well, we break above our first Fibonacci level, the 38.2% level. Okay. And we break above the anchored VWAP. And what do? We come back down and we're retesting these zones. We're retesting these zones. And these are bears, trying to come in here and push price lower. The bulls down here, they're happy, okay? They're not looking to aggressively push price up higher right now because they already got in down here. They just keep buying the dips, right? And where at? At the VWAP, right? At the anchored VWAP, at the anchored VWAP, at the key Fibonacci level. And we really just consolidate there nicely and we have a very strong breakout. And look at what we're doing right now, right? We're doing the exact same thing almost, right? We're now reclaiming a new Fibonacci level, right? Forming another flag pattern here, sideways consolidation, breaking out to the upside. So that's basically it, right? I don't want this video to be too long, and I really just wanted to go over the new indicator, all right? Go over the new tool that we've brought together for the investment intelligence community. Thank you guys, everybody who's in there and who's already got full access. This week we just published the first list of the Compression Hunter, stocks and indicator set. All right. I'll have the flexible grid and indicator and scan, up in the Discord very soon. Once I have this for sale, as a separate package. But for now, you guys can just gain access to that room in the Discord, and you will also get access to the, analysis and charts, as well as the list. Okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I pretty much explained what this is. So if you're someone who is confident in your own technical analysis and is confident in the strategy that I came up with this, you don't have to pay to join the Discord, okay? And get access to this, right? You can create your own indicator on ThinkorSwim that measures the Bollinger Band width, and then have create and in that indicator, be able to have the exponential moving averages for that indicator itself, not for the exponential moving averages for the price, and create some type of crossover for yourself. This is what the BB with EMA's indicator will look like. Now, I do have it to where you can slip or change it from simple, exponential, whatever type of moving average floats your boat. You guys can customize this. You can also customize the Bollinger Band width to help, kind of measure. You can change the EMA length. So by default, this is at the 8 and 16. That's what this strategy is kind of, built on. And then you can change everything else in here as well too. So remember, you'll get this, you'll get the anchored VWAPs, you'll get this whole layout here together as a whole. You'll get the list every week whenever I publish it, and then you'll also get, my specific analysis and what it is that I'm looking for in the names that pop up as results. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.